Good morning, depending on where you are. It's Friday morning. And I just wanted to check in today and do a Friday post. Today, rather than talking a lot about, the different items that I've learned about eating and all of that type of thing that I normally do on these Friday video blogs, I really feel like it's on my heart to talk about something that I've been seeing a lot about. Um, there's so much stress in the world right now. It's just crazy. And I know I'm not telling you anything that you don't know, even if you try to avoid watching a lot of it and really, really feasting on all of this stressful news and just what's going on in the world. It's just devastating. You still, you know, a person still sees like the news headlines on the feed, and I feel like it's one of those things that for myself it's something that I can't just sit and watch a lot of, but I do like to be aware of it because I feel like it's something that as a Christian I need to be praying for people and for places, and obviously I have people on both sides of the world, and a lot of people in my prayers. But one of the things that I've really been seeing is reading and listening to posts that talk about just the absolute overwhelm with all of this and how it's impacting people emotionally. Found it interesting, the stuff that I'm doing to kind of work on getting my classes going. They they help with watching what type of ads are resonating, and what are people really looking at and clicking on and that type of thing. And surprise, surprise, the big thing is emotional eating. I mean, it's the same thing that I've been talking about. Emotional eating is huge. For some people, that may not be what you turn to. You may turn to other things. Maybe some people tend to turn more to alcohol, or some sort of street drugs, or shopping, or gambling, or whatever it is. But whatever it is trying to take that pain that we're feeling, that overwhelm, and trying to use something to comfort it. And I have been very, very guilty of that in the past. And it's one of the things this last year, with this extremely difficult year that I feel like God has really worked with me on, that is the number one thing that I need to really focus on, is not turning to other things other than God for comfort. So not turning to that comfort food and the stuff that I really like, or going shopping when I have no business going shopping. That's something also that's always been comforting to me. So isn't it interesting that this year I've been put in a position where I don't have the resources to even do that? And I also have been put in a position of really getting down to the point where I recognize that everything I have is from God. I talked a little bit about this in some of my other posts, where I always kind of felt like the job that I had, I made good money and I'd worked hard for it and I'd gone to school and I'd done all this stuff, and it was all me, 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 and what I had accomplished. And this year has been a lesson on everything that I have is thanks to God's blessing and provision and help. And without that, it can all fall apart within a matter of days. And I'm just here to tell you that. So there's a few lessons that I have learned, and I'm going to circle back where this is my food one. I want to circle back on this whole emotional eating topic and using food for my comfort. And like I said, you can substitute whatever yours is. Mine has been the food, of course. And I can go into a stressful situation knowing that I'm at risk for that I shouldn't do it, that it's going to harm my body. But in the middle of all of that doesn't, even if I know it up here, it doesn't always do anything for me. I still can make the choices that are harmful and hurt. I can do things that help cut down on my risk of doing that. For example, when I'm not eating a bunch of food that causes me to be hungry earlier, like all of the high sugar, comforting foods, the chemistry and the chemical changes that um, that creates in your body, the elevated insulin and all that stuff. You've heard me talk about some of it. That can all make a person hungrier. So I can do things like that to cut down on that, and it has helped. But the bottom line that I have found for myself is that I must trust in God to help me. And I know for some of you listening, that may be something that's just like, well, that's not me. And I will just say that this has been, wait for the noisy truck to go by. Welcome to Texas. This has been a huge, huge lesson for me, that it really does. You can, if you think about it, like every 12-step program has even a component of this in it that I'm aware of, because we are human and we can have all of the best resolve in the world. But when times get really, really tough, resolve doesn't always do it. You need something stronger than that. And so my strength has been in God helping me. So this last week, as you know, if you've been following me, this whole year has been a challenge in trying to figure out what I should be doing. I have felt definitely that I am not at this point in life not being directed to go back into the corporate medical world after 40 years in it. So that's been a huge change and kind of difficult because that's what I've known. That was, it's comforting to go back to what you know, whether it's comfort food or a comfort job. I mean, comfort money coming in, all that kind of thing. But it just hasn't been where I am where I should be right now. Will that change? I don't know. Time will tell. I have learned to just say one step at a time. At the beginning of this week, I was just, to a point where it's like, I need something. God, I need something. This is it. I'm done. Tell me what the next step is. And I'm not saying that in a disrespectful way. It was almost just like, okay, I've come to this point where I think this is where you want me to be, to really say whatever it is you want me to do. And it was interesting because sometimes when we get to that point, it's not always the answers that we expect. And I had the situation happen where I had to go shopping for something that I was completely out of and really needed it. And so I went ahead and was like, okay, I'll go. And so I went, and I was in the store, and I ran into this kid that was shopping there, and something just kind of clicked. And I thought, I bet that he's doing a delivery. And so I just said, do you mind if I ask you a question? And we chatted, and he kind of talked to me about, yes, he does a delivery service, and he's done a couple different ones, and what he likes about each one, and so forth. And I walked out of that store with just the lightest feeling that I have had in months, knowing that this is the direction for right now that you need to go. So I came home. I did that. I also applied for a couple of other things, but I got it all set up, and have been doing that over the last few days. And I'm telling you, I have extreme peace and joy, and just knowing that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing right now. It's interesting because it's completely not what I would have thought. It's not something where you're making a ton of money, like I used to. Um, not that I made a ton, but I wasn't in a bad space. Let's just put it that way. And it is, I think part of it this year, I've spent a lot of time diving into, like reading about in the New Testament and the Old Testament and the Bible, and kind of learning more that way, and really focusing on, you've heard me talk a lot about praise and worship and that type of thing. All of it has kind of come together in this place of realizing this is how you avoid damaging and hurting yourself in the middle of deep emotion and deep fear, of what could become deep fear if you allow it to. So, am I at a place that I would have anticipated a year ago? Yesterday was my last day of my job. No, no, I am not. But am I in a place that I know that God is with me and helping me, and that I'm where I'm at and I'm learning the lessons that I need to learn and growing in the way that I need to grow? Yes, absolutely. So I don't know exactly what, tomorrow will hold, next week, anytime. All I know is what I'm doing step by step. Um, I know that there are a lot of people out there that are struggling with emotions. And believe me, if there's anybody out there that, would like to get a hold of me and say, hey, I really need some help with this, just DM me and let me know. And if you are at a place where you want help working with the emotional eating, let me know on that, because I've got, we've talked about it before. I've got the small program and I've got a larger, more in-depth program. But more than that, just know that there is hope out there, and that, um, faith and praise and worship are ways that can be just soothing and healing to your soul and your mind and your spirit. So that's it for my Friday today. And I hope that you have a blessed one. Continue, praying. God hears our prayers. I want to finish up with what I was reading today, and it's in the Old Testament in Numbers. And it was a prayer that Moses asked his brother, that God told actually Moses to tell Aaron, his brother, and his sons to read to their people. And so this is number 6, and it starts with verse 24. It says, may the Lord bless you and protect you. May the Lord make his face shine on you and be gracious to you. May the Lord look with favor on you and give you peace. So I pray that for each one of us today. You have a great Friday.